Hey Lil Hoes, my name is Kristen and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about a planty experiment. As many of you may know, I won a little cutting of a Variegated Monstera adansonii a while ago. I forget when this was exactly. I want to say it was like June or July, off of an Instagram giveaway. It's my #1 unicorn plant and I have been very patiently waiting for this cutting to do something, and it just hasn't. When I got it, the ends were ever so slightly mushy. Not enough to be super concerned, but I didn't want to tempt fate and rot it out by, planting it in soil or something very damp. I originally put it in a fairly large deli cup with perlite and slightly damp spag. Put it in my terrarium, which is on the cool side, and waited. Did nothing, and as winter started to approach, it was fall, it was getting colder, I didn't want it to sit in there and rot out because it is on the cool side, so I ended up putting it in this glass jar with just a bowl on top, which seals in all that humidity very nicely, and put it in here in my sunroom. It has damp spag in it just because the sunroom is so hot. It makes plants dry out pretty quick in here. So I just seal-a-mealed this little cutting in here, and I put it in this even smaller deli cup just so I wouldn't lose it amidst all this sea of spag. And this is it. Honestly, there's nothing that other video didn't show you about this. It's done nothing. I think maybe ever so slightly this tiny node here has grown or swelled slightly. No root growth, no development whatsoever. It's not dying, which I'm thankful for, but it's also not doing anything. Last week I did put a little bit of rooting hormone on the little tiny aerial root down there. It's a liquid indole butyric acid, and I've mentioned it before, I think. Indole butyric acid is a plant hormone that specifically helps with root development. I decided that I am just gonna go for it. I'm gonna try everything I got to get this little dude to pop. Hence why I bought some Keiki paste. Now, Keiki paste it's not a brand, it's just a term fondly used by orchid enthusiasts to refer to making baby plants asexually. Keiki paste contains chitokinin hormone. Chitokinin hormone is a specific plant hormone that helps with cell growth and division. Orchid enthusiasts have been using this for years to help grow baby orchids, usually along the flowering stem of orchids. So what they'll do is they'll smear a little bit of this paste on a node on that stem, and after a time you will see roots and a tiny plant develop on that stem. Now, we call this proliferation in other plants, and I've seen it before. Think of spider plants, how they grow those little babies on there. I've witnessed it primarily in daylilies out in the garden. You'll sometimes go out and find along the blooming stem a tiny little fan of a daylily starting to grow. And you might even see some little roots develop on it. When I noticed it in one of my daylily plants, I cut off that portion, stuck it in water, and eventually some really awesome roots started to develop on it. Orchid enthusiasts use this type of asexual propagation just because it's difficult and time-consuming to grow a lot of orchids by seed, so this is just a quicker method of genetically reproducing a plant that is true to the mother plant. Fun fact, keiki is a Hawaiian word that essentially just means baby, child, or little one. So today I will be using this on the little Variegated adansonii. I'll be using this on that little leaf node. Hopefully that will stimulate it to grow some actual leaves. And I'll probably add some more rooting hormone to that little aerial root nub. Double whammy. Maybe it will produce something, maybe it won't. But it's at that point where it's been a long time and I need to do something to get it to grow. Now, a lot of places do recommend, at least for orchid growing, that you strip away that little outer layer. That I'll try and insert pictures of this, but they recommend that you scrape off a little bit of that node to get that paste directly onto the tissue of the plant. I'm not going to do that because, one, I think you see that little bract a little bit more clearly in orchids versus aeroids, and since I only have this one little cutting to work with, I don't really want to introduce any sort of scrape or scratch that might result in it rotting out. I only have this to work with. I'm not going to mess it up. So I'll just be directly applying this Keiki paste to that little leaf node. All right, I hope this is all in focus, guys, and turns out okay. I can't quite see with this setup. So this is the Keiki paste. Just a little bit of a gel, and I do have a cotton swab and this little tool boyfriend has for making stuff. So I'm gonna just apply it Okie dokie, little smokies. It has been applied, and now the waiting process just begins. I know a lot of people see something within 2 weeks, but it can take longer than that. So I will definitely update you guys on this if I see any growth happening. As always, stay safe, healthy, and sane, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.